Back in the 80s, 90s, and even a bit in the early 2000s, there were odd contraptions made to give you the ability to watch portable movies, and we're looking at one where, of course, they put Real Ghostbusters out for it. These are the mini-movies. These mini-movies seem to be fairly obscure, as they were mostly just released in the UK. What I have here are the 3 mini-movies released for Real Ghostbusters, which were Ecto Escape, Slimer Chase, and Save the Day. And I think you could only get Save the Day package with the viewer, but that was okay for me, because I kinda needed a viewer, else I wouldn't be able to do that much with these, would I? That probably was a little annoying back in the day, though, if you're buying different titles under the mini-movies line and you had to keep buying a viewer just because you couldn't get a particular film without it. But yeah, other titles that I know of that were released for this mini-movies thing were Duckula, The Pink Panther, Popeye, Tom and Jerry, and Betty Boop. Oh, and yeah, there was also Chippendales. I don't know for sure if this was released by the same company, but it looks like the exact same thing. They might just call themselves something different to try and separate it a bit with their adult peep show things with the cartoon stuff. Mini-Movie's slogan was, "In the palm of your hand," which just kind of emphasizes what a novelty that would have been back then. And it looks like these were released in '86 based on the latest date we have on here. The mini-movies were put out by a company called Tiny Hands.
A party at Donald Trump's place.
It wasn't that funny.
The parent company for these things is apparently Debset Limited. I didn't find too much else on them, except a page that talked about their trademark for mini-movies and their apparent liquidation. The mini-movie viewer only requires 1 AA, which is pretty rare, as almost everything required 2. The back of the card shows us a blue mini-movie viewer, which is of course not what we got in this package, but there were different colored ones that came with different movies, like these ones that came with soccer or football because it's the UK. The Real Ghostbusters artwork on these cards is from some commonly reused stuff used for a lot of Real Ghostbusters products. In fact, this rolled-up sleeve Peter is from a modified version of one of the earliest Real Ghostbusters promo pictures where they're all still wearing the tan suits and Peter still had a pre-final design. In fact, this exact same artwork was used for the player pieces on the UK version of the Real Ghostbusters board game. There are some oddities about the coloring of some of the artwork on these cards, though, like here where Peter's hair looks almost green and he looks overly tanned a bit. But his hair only looks that way on the viewer version of the card. On the smaller, just movie card, they seem to have gotten his hair a more proper brown, but they kind of melted Janine's legs together in the smaller version of this picture. The 2 cards use different versions of Stay Puft, both which have been reused for things, though. The Happy Stay Puft is still being used for things quite recently, even. So these mini-movies are just kind of like a little miniature film reel, which is kind of interesting. The mini-movies also came with a free sticker inside, which was the exact same picture that was on the card. I have seen one variant of these, which was for the Slimer Chase movie, which is where the free sticker inside part had the No Ghost logo on it, but I don't think there's any difference about the contents. So apparently we have to hold the viewer towards a light source and then press the action button and the continuous loop of film just rolls and rolls, battery not included, which is very good because it would have corroded by now. It's the exact same sticker with both of the films, so that's a little lame. And there's no sticker with the one that came with the viewer because, I mean, they couldn't afford to give you a sticker and the viewer. So here's the viewer, which is apparently also a keychain. I don't know how practical that ever would have been. We got our kind of slide buttons here. This one's supposed to be for the focus. This is frame control, and this is supposed to be the on and off switch. We just kind of slide this open here to put in our single AA, and since they showed a knockoff Duracell on the back, I suppose that's what I should use, right? So I guess to start off, we'll look at the one that came with the viewer, Ghostbusters Save the Day. And if we look really close in on the film, we can kind of see the Ghostbusters on there. So we just stick the film, or the video cartridge as the card calls it, into the back of it like this. I guess it just kind of sticks in like that. Then we just have the viewer eyepiece here, which I'll try to zoom in best I can to show you what this thing looks like. Welcome to the theater of the eye. Okay, so I'm just kind of figuring out how this thing works as I go here, of course, and this isn't really an on-off switch so much as it is you just hold the button and then it plays through the film loop. Here's my kind of ridiculous setup to try and get this to work with the camera. So I have a flashlight shining in behind the viewer here. Oh, look, his face. I'm so close to getting something. This might be the best I can get. But as you can see, this is the original Real Ghostbusters pitch pilot, where they still have all the tan jumpsuits and Peter's got his still more Bill Murray-ish design. And Slimer's still a bad guy. But just has a couple parts on here. One where they're running through the hotel, and then the very ending where they're kind of emulating what would become the regular intro for the show. I never would have expected the pitch pilot to be on one of these, though, as that's extremely odd, and this was kind of rare to come by until it was put on the Time Life DVD release. I'm doing the best I can to get you as much of this picture as I can with these, but it's not super easy with how small the viewer is on this, because, you know, you can see the proto-Peter here, but Egon, you can kind of see a bit of his hair over there. He's supposed to be in the picture a bit, but it's really hard to get this any closer to show more of the picture. This is as close in as I can get with the lens I got, but at least this does give you guys a look at what this thing is kind of like. Since the film isn't really going through anything, it's just being played through the front of the viewer here, the tapes should just easily kind of pop in and out. Yeah, alright. I do like how it has that kind of like old-time silent film projector thing, especially with the noise this thing makes. But, I mean, you can see it's just a motor kind of spinning the film around once it goes in here through the viewer. So it's kind of interesting how they engineered this thing. Alright, so for our next What I Can Show You of It film, let's look at Slimer Chase. So our second movie is actually part of the same movie, with Slimer Chase again being part of the pitch pilot to sell the series. This is actually pretty amusing as well, as it features, you know, the evil Slimer from the movie rather than the good guy Slimer that we would see in the actual cartoon series. So this is the Ghostbusters chasing him with the intent to bust him. Slimer's also eating some Stay Puft marshmallows in this scene, so that's a nice nod as well. And for the last film of our triple feature, let's look at Ecto Escapade. Will Ecto Escapade be more of the pitch pilot? Seems most likely at this point. See Ecto jumping around and, yeah, scared woman crashing through the building, and this is Ecto driving through the hotel. You can see a lot of film grain on this one in particular. Maybe it's just because I have it focused in a certain way. Also, the picture on this one seems jumpiest out of the three. I can just kind of move this around each frame to show a little bit more of it. I wish I could have zoomed in a little nicer. We'll see Ecto crash in slow motion. This woman can't believe it. Oh! Here they come. Got what you wanted, lady? Oh no, not the Ghostbusters. So I figure I probably should show you guys what it kind of looks like when you're using this thing properly instead of trying to jam a macro lens down it. But yeah, looks pretty cool, right? Trying to watch your weird Ghostbusters silent film on here. You know, for quite a while, this would have been the only way for you to watch the pitch pilot, so that's kind of a weird thought. And it's just very weird that that's what was on these. I kind of wish there had been something else rather than all three of them being the pitch pilot, but it's still a very interesting find. I know you guys only saw a circle of it, but it's got a pretty decent picture for the most part. Like I mentioned though, for some reason Ecto Escapade didn't look quite as nice as the other two, despite it being part of the same movie. The film carts are easy enough to pop in and out, and it kind of forces them into the right spot as you load them. I did notice though there was a bit of that kind of overheating smell after running this for a while, but luckily nothing actually got overly hot on it at least. Also, the films are fairly short, meaning this wouldn't keep you entertained all that long. 6. Having a small loop of film housed within a cartridge just to play through a little film viewer was a pretty neat idea, but probably not super practical, especially cost-wise for back then. I'm pretty sure that, along with how short of a film you actually got per cartridge, led to these falling into obscurity rather quickly. 7. I guess you had to come up with odd ways to miniaturize things like film reels so you could give people pointless portable films back in the day. And again, it really is odd that these had the Real Ghostbusters pitch pilot on them. I guess part of the reason for this though would have been that these came out in '86, which was the year the series came out as well. Meaning they must have really rushed these out, and that pitch pilot was possibly one of the only things they could get to convert yet. 8. It's just a kind of reused art asset style package, but with how early on this was, it's kind of understandable. And it's not horrible looking the way they have it arranged, plus the Real Ghostbusters ones at least got neater looking cards than the rest of the mini-movies. The package also gets some odd points for the coloring being off on the larger version of the card. 7. And the MMZ overall is 7! It's an interesting portable film device that plays the real prototype Busters, which I'm sure confused any of the few UK kids that actually had one of these back in the mid-80s. Bad guy Slimer, gotta bust him. He's gonna take over our series. Let's get him.
No! They know I'm evil the whole time!